Money talks. Bullshit runs the marathon. So, see ya, and I wouldn't want to be here.
All right, everyone, this is Tom Allen, Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, what a wonderful day on a Thursday. Everyone here at the online Big Blue house is sick. I am waiting to get sick, patiently. The Giants, of course, signed wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins. What a big move that was. David Sills 2.0. Familiar with the Buffalo Bills coaching staff, of course, because he was over in Buffalo forever. Not forever and a day, but he was with the Bills on the practice squad for the last couple of years. It is what it is. He played at Oregon. He started 34 games. Oh, excuse me, he played in 34 games, started 27, had 176 receptions, which ranked 6th in the program, 2,322 yards, 7th all-time there, for 20 touchdowns, which was tied for 2nd. Well, that's great and all. He was released. What was he? He was released by the Bills on November 1st. I have a Victor Cruz 2.0 feeling here for Isaiah, and I'm not trying to make fun of Isaiah, but it's not big news. It's a guy that has been in the league for a while. He's played in 1 game last season with no receptions. He played in 2 games the season prior with 4 receptions for 41 yards. He spent most of the last 3 seasons on the practice squad. It is what it is. Scouts are looking at, you go back to 2020, they were like, he was potentially an inside-outside target with below average speed, but outstanding ball skills, instincts, and will make the contested catch. Scouts must balance his impressive pass-catching talents against the issues, eluding press man and NFL caliber coverage. That sounds like it's David Sills 2.0. But then I go on social media and we just found a gem. All right, you know what? Listen, I was wrong about Fabian, but this guy's David Sills 2.0, or he's Madre Harper, and that's what we're gonna leave it at with that. Like I said, it's the silly season when you have to have content or have exciting content in reference to the signing of Mr. Isaiah here. On a sad note, though. Tom Coughlin's wife passed away at 77 yesterday. She was dealing with some issues with brain cancer. I've met Judy Coughlin a couple times at the Giants and season ticket holder end of year meet and greet and parties and stuff. I probably met her like 3 or 4 times. Wonderful lady. Very supportive of Tom. It's just one of those things that it brings you a little bit of sadness because, like I said, Tom Coughlin is such a good guy. I must have met Tom Coughlin 5 or 6 times as well. And it's just like I said, to lose your spouse at 77, especially after her long battle with cancer. Our prayers and wishes go out to the entire Coughlin family and the entire Giant family because, like I said, Judy was the linchpin for Tom in reference to those early seasons with the Giants back, and especially in 2007. I mean, she basically kept him. If you ever hear the story, she basically kept him going and kept him afloat with all the turmoil and everything that had been happening with the Giants prior to the 2007 season. So, again, our prayers and condolences go out to the entire Coughlin family. And, we want to, like I said, we're just sending those prayers and wishes out. Joe Schoen was on an interview yesterday and on a podcast, and he said straight up, Joe Schoen wants to keep Saquon Barkley because he's a culture guy. 25-year-old running back. Of course, he was 2nd overall back in 2018. He's playing out his 5th-year option with the Giants picked up last year for $7.2 million. Of course, he missed almost the entire 2020 season when he tore up his knee in Chicago. He's looked good, though. He looks like he's back into form. He's leading the team with 779 yards rushing, 4.8 yards carry, 5 touchdowns, as well as 28 receptions for 189 yards and a partridge in a pear tree. He wants to keep Barkley. Why wouldn't you? He was on an interview with WFAN. He said, Saquon is a culture guy that fits into everything we ask. He's a captain. He's a good player for his position who's having a good season. He's a guy, obviously, we're going to do our due diligence on, and we'd like to keep him around here so we can get into contract extension talks. You have to value for a player where you see him and why, and then knowing that you have to do the franchise tag as a tool in your toolbox. If the Giants do franchise tag him, they're looking at $12.6 million. I don't think they're going to try to franchise tag him. He says, Shane also says, Saquon and I have a great relationship. We've talked to him and told him I'd like to have him here, and I think he's on the same boat. So we'll see if we can work out something here at some point. I think that's a great thing. I would like to see Saquon back just as much as everyone else. I think Saquon is going to be a good fit for this team. I think Saquon is a good fit, not just for, whatever the offense that Kafka is going to be running, but I just think he's a good fit just in general. I think he's a good, solid guy. If you go back to his 2018 season where he had a total of 2,028 yards from scrimmage, and he's on pace to put up 2,057 yards this season, but of course we're adding one more game onto that and making it into a 17-game schedule. Knock on wood, he's been healthy, and he has to stay that way. And then from there, like I said, you know what? I always like to use the cliches, and God willing, everything will work out. And I think that's what we're going to look at for Saquon. I just hope we can find a common ground with him, because I don't think a franchise, when you have $50 million in cap space, and I know the cap's probably going to go up, but if you take a look at the numbers, I'm still coming at like $53.5 million in 2023 right now. And if you take a look at that, you have 43 guys under contract, 11 goes to your draft class. So you're already down to 43 something. It would be hard to put a $12 million cap hold on 40 something million and still have the maneuverability to move around and try to find some other cogs and some other pieces that you want to bring in as an organization. So like I said, you hope they can work something out. You hope they can figure it out. Because like I said, I would love to have Saquon here for another 4 or 5 years, end his career as a Giant. Have one of those. I don't want to see an Emmitt Smith thing where he's here for a while, then he goes someplace else and it just does not look right in another uniform, because to me, Saquon Barkley always is going to be a Giant and always will be a Giant. And again, this is Total Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk entertainment. And as always, you can like, subscribe if you're ring that bell, you know,